How's it going, everybody? This is Dustin with Team Conti Sim Performance with the race run replay at Old Atlanta in the truck. This is 25 Season 3, Week 12. First of all, so glad they chose Old Atlanta for this, not the new one. Anyway, we'll get right into this 30-lap run. This is me driving, so we're gonna find a lot of mistakes to point out. First of all, I want to point out this is not race pace. This is me driving the H out of it. I realize I do still have wheel or pedal calibration issues. That is what it is. As you see, at 30.68 to start the run, that's probably 2.5 tenths faster than I should have. A few things to note about Atlanta while we're just riding around wearing the tires out. Painting that white line is going to be the way to go if you want long run speed and if you want to preserve your tires. That's number one on the list to mention. Secondly, sorry, I got distracted by a text there. Back to point one there, hugging that white line. You'll see that's probably my biggest weakness. I mean, if I were to kick to far chase for a second, I'm just not there. For some reason, I just don't get there. But that's a me issue. You watch the fast guys here; they're all lot longer than I managed there. So anyway, keep that in mind. Next thing I want to point out is the truck will, with the old asphalt, you're basically sliding whatever tire you're using. That's just the way it is, especially with the 111 to 114 track temp that I'm seeing. So keep that in mind as you blast off into the corners. Feather early. Slow that transition of the truck weight to the front. And then on exit, same thing. Really take care of the throttle. Try not to slide the rear. But again, you'll whichever corner of the truck you're stressing. So right front on entry, because you're turning the truck. Right rear on exit because you're driving off on throttle. Keep that in mind, that whatever you do, whatever input you give, you are draining tire life. So just give as minimal as you can, be as smooth as you can on throttle and on that steering wheel. Third thing I want to point out is, from entry here to the bottom, you're dropping in elevation. From center exit, you're climbing the hill. So that exaggerates what I just explained in point 2. As you're falling off or losing elevation, dropping into the bottom of the corner, you're taking load off your tires, which less contact or less load, to a degree, you're just sliding. And then on exit, as it hits that transition from downhill flat to uphill, you're increasing the load on the truck. So again, everything that you do from point 2 that I explained earlier is increased because of the elevation change, and what it does to the load. Your 3,500 pound truck becomes a 2,000 pound truck or less as it falls off into the corner, and then it becomes a 5,000 pound truck or more when you're climbing back out of the hill on throttle. So keep that in mind. That's why it's that much more important to really find out, learn what those inputs need to be. I didn't take note of what lap I started here, so let's take a look. It was 38. So we just completed lap 10. And now the truck is starting to show, okay, what did I do to it for the first 10 laps? How did I not condition my tires well by just driving it like I stole it? The thing that you're going to notice is you'll into 3 you'll get increasingly tighter at this point. It'll become a little lighter on the rear on exit. Again, those are the corners you're stressing as you're driving around this place. The tight that you feel into 3, it can be alleviated some by rolling out of the throttle earlier. And then I also do something a little different with my line later on that seemed to help me quite a bit, and that was a higher arc into 3, turning in off the wall rather than like right here, off the wall, bringing it to the bottom. It helped me carry a little more speed through the center, probably at the cost of some tires, but Delta bar was turning green, so I liked it, so we kept doing it. But again, the best guys here, they're low and slow in, and they maintain roll speed. They hold that white line and drive straight off the corner. Every little micro slide or oversteer because we drove in too deep, every little thing just adds up, stacks up, and results in accelerated wear. So this is lap 15. So we're getting to the point of the run where we really have to be careful on throttle out of 2 and 4. Mostly out of 4, simply because it's tighter into 3, so you inherently have more wheel in it. It'll also start to free up into 1, so you could kind of hang the rear out a little. Wouldn't recommend it. Again, keep the truck as straight as you can, but just what the truck is doing at this point in the run. You're just losing grip overall everywhere. Old hot track. Which should produce some pretty good racing this week. Throughout this 30, I don't leave the bottom. Later on in the run, I mean after 30 or at 30, you can leave the bottom in 1 and 2. 3 and 4 sometimes works as well. It's great to defend. You just don't want to live up there very long. But once you get to your final 10 laps of your run, at that point, wherever you're comfortable, you're going to produce the best lap time for yourself. So once you get to that point in the run, just sacrifice preferred line for comfort. If your preferred line is still the bottom, then great, hang there. If you can make more speed and feel comfortable running middle or top, after your tires are worn out, it's definitely an option. In a previous practice run, I think I picked up a couple tenths running the top, both ends. We're talking wall. So, I mean, it's doable. It can be faster. I was on a much looser setup, mind you, when I did that. Moving to the top made it feel a lot more stable with less wheel in it. So if you're really loose, you might want to move up. I'm not sure. I guess it depends on how you drive it up there, whether that'll make it looser or tighter. But if you're already loose and it makes you looser, that's not a good thing. So definitely put in the practice and find out what your driving tendencies are going to do to it as you move around. Eight laps to go. I mean, at this point, the truck still feels good. It feels like it's on a hot, worn-out racetrack. But as far as the balance, I can make it go loose. I can make it go tight. It's just all what I'm doing to the truck. I'm going to earmark that lap right there, 162. Turns 1 and 2, and we'll come back to it. I want to point out something I noticed I did there that I see a lot of people do. A lot of people in the sim, a lot of people in our Sunday practices. We fixed the problem there. That 1 and 2 was much better. As you can see, I've gone to that higher arc into 3. I pushed about the 3rd mark with a little too much speed and got tight in the center, which caused the free exit. But as you see, that lap time was better than the previous lap, so, and that was all in 1 and 2. And if I hadn't annihilated these tires, you should be in the 8s, 9s at 30. I think 8s are very doable. My tire wear was about 15% more worn than some of the ambassador runs I saw earlier this week in this setup development phase. I'm just hard on them, and it really probably comes down to how I brought them up to temp. Starting lap 30 here. After hitting all these 06s in a row, I pushed it a little too hard here, as you'll see, mostly center out at 2. So I carried more throttle, kept the truck pretty straight, but it was slower because I was sliding the rear. So keep that in mind. You don't want to just, same thing here, just slide in the rear instead of actually giving it the amount of throttle that the truck can handle at that point. So let's go back to that 162. One and two here. Alright, so you'll notice I overslow into 1. Pick up throttle after I realized I'd overslowed, and then had to come back out before I can roll back in. Which really kind of put the truck in an off-balance situation where the truck snaps free exit. See at full speed, overslow, gassed it to keep it from eating apron, and then had to roll back out. And at that point, it was making its transition to set and loaded and neutral too late in the corner, and ended up having to put more wheel in it and snapping. So just a small moment, but that cost me half a tenth compared to the next lap. So anyway, yeah, remember those little nuggets. Slow in, hard off, hold the white line. Be mindful of the weight transitions and what inputs you are giving the truck at those weight transitions. Keep it straight and rolling in those as the weight is transferring, and you'll conserve tire. And then finally, choice of lane. Once your tires are worn out, I think you can just go ahead and run wherever you want, wherever you're comfortable, wherever you can make pace. Not really sure what the dirty air is going to do yet. We'll find out in our test, our Sunday night test. But that hasn't had a massive effect as of late. So I don't know what they changed and didn't announce, but it doesn't seem to be as big of an issue lately. So that we're kind of built around that. I didn't build it free, anticipating dirty air making it plow. So the other options will come into play at that point. Setup notes: looser is quite a bit looser. Just the way it wears, it's lower cross weight. R1 and 1.2 tighter are higher cross weight than we've run all season. Did so to try and maintain the balance. Everything else was just you'd lose the rear so bad exit that we had to go that route. Also running higher nose weight this week than we have. That's some of the snug into 3, but we put enough into the setup to normalize that or neutralize that. But it helped the truck last on exit a lot more, or a lot longer. So anyway, those are the setup notes or little tidbits between the 3. R1, so benchmark, and 1.2 tighter are really close. Pretty small changes between them. Little track bar, little rear spring. Excuse me. But looser is off of a previous base setup that was the lower cross weight and less nose weight. So still a pretty quick option. Lap times were very similar. Just how you drive it, what you're comfortable with. If you like sitting on the right rear, it'll be a good option for you if you could do it and still save it. The tire, that is. Anyway, that's all the nuggets I've got for you this week. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. Thanks for choosing TCSP, and good luck this week.